The datapad on Maria Elena Vega's kitchen table chimed. A message from the Tarvani Combine. The offer: exclusive rights to Paprika Ardiente, in return for assets worth 14 times the galactic gross product.
17 species depend on this pepper, and they think I'll sell it for a number.
She closed the message without replying, lifted her coffee, and looked out at the mountains. What could be worth more than an empire? The answer was growing 300 meters away, in a greenhouse her family had tended for 6 generations. 2 years earlier, a discovery had shattered galactic trade lanes. A rare Oaxacan pepper, Paprika Ardiente, produced the only cure for a fatal neural disease. 16 species were at risk, including the wealthiest 3. Earth placed it on the open market. No monopoly, no conditions, just a spice like any other. Within a year, it was trading at 14 times the price of platinum. The Tarvani Combine had been rejected by a farmer, and the spice she grew was now the axis of galactic finance. A month after the offer, Maria walked the rows of her ancestral fields, Mateo at her side. The sun over Oaxaca had seen a lot, but never this.
Mama, they're calling you the Queen of the Galaxy now. Aren't you going to answer them?
Answer them. The Tarvani don't want an answer. They want a surrender. I am not prepared to give.
The village market had changed overnight. Aliens of a dozen species browsed pepper stalls, their translators buzzing with questions Mateo could barely answer.
Every day more come. They think we're hiding something.
They're right, mijo, but not the thing they're looking for.
That evening, by the family altar, the silence was heavier. Old photographs, candles, and a single dried pepper pod.
Mama, Abuela Isabella, did she know this would happen?
She knew something, mijo, more than she ever told me. That's all I can say now.
For 6 generations, the Vega Cooperative had refined a hybrid that, in the right light, glowed like embers. They had kept its full potential a secret, even from themselves. And the galaxy had no idea yet. The discovery broke across 17 systems simultaneously. Biochemists from the Jaith Combine held a press conference, their voice trembling. The neural cascade had one cure, and Earth, with a shrug that baffled the galaxy, listed it on the open market. No exclusive rights, no strategic reserve, just a price per gram. Within a single fiscal quarter, Paprika Ardiente had eclipsed every fungible asset in the known systems. On the Tarvani Combine's headquarters world, the financial panic hit like a pressure bomb. The first auditor's office had not convened an emergency session for 3 centuries. 17 Tarvani directors sat around the obsidian table, their silver robes pinned straight. Veth Kolrin, first auditor, broke the silence.
This weed has decoupled our currency from its metallic base in a quarter cycle. If we do not control supply, the Combine dissolves. The last time I met a human, they were selling fruit from a cart. Now they own the axis of civilization.
The board voted unanimously. Veth Kolrin would be dispatched to secure monopoly rights, by any means necessary. The orbital exchange over the gas giant became the new heart of the galaxy. Cyan canisters turned over in zero-gravity holds, and the spice flowed. In the shadows of the observation deck, Tarvani agents watched every shipment, every gram. The Combine was coming. 7 days after the first shipment, Veth Kolrin arrived at the neutral station. He carried an offer designed to end negotiations before they began.
6 colonized worlds, full sovereignty, with infrastructure intact, in exchange for exclusive cultivation rights. In perpetuity.
The Earth delegation's reply was broadcast live. We decline. The spice will not be monopolized. The live feed captured the moment Tarvani prestige cracked. On the trading floors, the Ardiente unit jumped another 11%.
Let them bid against the galaxy. The price of our pepper was never money.
Within hours, the Vega Cooperative announced Maria Elena Vega would personally oversee the auction as voluntary guarantor. No fee, no salary, auction rules, bi-weekly lots, per shipment bidding. Each registered species may bid for 1 lot per cycle. No bulk purchases, no futures, no hoarding.
They've turned our offer into a public execution. The Combine does not beg.
The first auction gavel, would fall at the same orbital exchange where the Tarvani had once treated Earth goods with contempt. The Tarvani directors watched in silence. Their monopoly dream was dead. Now, they would have to beg. The first auction gavel fell inside the orbital exchange. 17 species registered, but the Tarvani bid der Sturm. They could not hoard, and every lot they lost hurt.
I could buy a star system faster than this. The rule was made to break us.
By the third month, the spice's value had tripled again. Behind closed doors, central banks started pegging reserves to Ardiente units. The Tarvani credit rating slipped daily.
Mama, the Combine's liquidity is evaporating. The news anchors are saying it's the Vega effect.
The Tarvani blame the mirror for their own face. Mijo, let them. We have weeds to water.
She went inside and rolled tortillas by hand. The kitchen smelled of corn and dried peppers. Galactic markets could crash. Maria would still make dinner.
We have surrendered 34% of our liquidity. If this trajectory holds, the Combine will be a footnote in a quarter cycle.
The directors authorized measures the Combine had not used in 800 years. Do what must be done, the eldest spoke, or find yourself a new galaxy.
There is one unspoken path. If the spice cannot be bought, it can be erased.
On his desk, a sealed red file blinked. Contingency, biological disruption. His hand hovered, then pressed open. In a windowless adjunct chamber, the Tarvani inner circle met. The vote was 6-1. The one a dissenter who was never heard from again.
Deploy the pathogen at dusk over Oaxaca. I want the field sterile by sunrise.
Night fell over Oaxaca. Invisible spores drifted onto the leaves, the soil, the sacred pepper rose.
Mama, the leaves are curling. There's a smell. Wrong, like burnt sugar.
I smell it. The Tarvani have decided to play gods.
By midday, the blight had spread to the greenhouse. Rows of hybrid plants drooped, their red-gold fruit blackening at the tips.
We've lost half the crop. What do?
We do what we were always going to do. Call the captain. Tell her it's time.
She plucked a single seed from the blackened fruit and held it up to the light. It still glowed. The Tarvani thought they had erased the spice. They had only activated a contingency that was older than their banking empire. Within 36 hours, the Oaxacan blight was galactic news. Ardiente futures screamed upward, then froze. No supply meant no value, only panic. On the trading floors, hysteria broke. The Tarvani moved to buy every gram in circulation, but it wasn't enough to restore confidence.
Mama, the markets are crashing. The Tarvani are buying up the last canisters like vultures.
Good. Let them choke on it. Ahora. Mijo, call Captain Mendez. Tell her the Phase 2 cargo is live.
Mateo opened a secure channel to the freighter Cosecha, a ship Earth had kept berthed and waiting for 6 months. The Earth administration released a one-line statement. Press conference in 48 hours. The spice endures. Maria sat in the kitchen, that single glowing seed cupped in her palm. It was all she needed. The galaxy assumed Earth was bluffing. The Tarvani audited their vaults and smiled. But aboard the Cosecha, Captain Mendez was already running pre-launch checks on a cargo manifest that listed only botanical samples. The press conference would change everything. Maria had waited 6 generations for this moment. The press hall filled with delegates from 17 worlds. Maria approached the podium, a dried pepper pod in her hand.
You wanted to know if the spice would last. I brought the answer.
A hologram bloomed behind her. The orbital greenhouse, row after row of luminous red-gold peppers, Earth floating above.
Captain Rosa Mendez. First orbital shipment inbound. 10,000 canisters. ETA 30 hours.
Built-in secret, funded by Vega profits. The greenhouse had waited in orbit for exactly this day. Veth Kolrin watched from the Tarvani boardroom. His frozen composure cracked into a feeling he had never worn. Fear. The Ardiente unit surged. Tarvani credit collapsed 40% in 10 minutes.
The auction resumes next week. The rules stand. No hoarding, no monopoly.
She planned this. every move. And we gave her the stage.
The spice supply was secure. The Tarvani Combine had just engineered its own collapse. 3 nights after the press conference, a Tarvani stealth cutter approached the orbital greenhouse in total blackout, its engines muffled. The greenhouse perimeter AI detected the anomaly. Lights blazed, and a railgun sent a warning shot blazing past their cockpit.
Captain Mendez's voice broke the silence. Tarvani vessel, you are in restricted space. Retreat immediately or be disabled.
The cutter hesitated, then its engines sputtered and died. An Earth defense satellite had hit them with a precision EMP.
Maria watched the red icon fade on her datapad. She texted Matteo. They tried.
In the Tarvani boardroom, the room was still. The eldest director stood. You have ended this combine.
Veth Kolrin did not reply. He thought. Our final play, and they swatted it like a nuisance.
On the trading floors, the Ardiente unit surged 30%. Tarvani credit became speculative junk overnight. By morning, 3 major banking collectives had demanded settlement in Ardiente. The Combine could not meet the call. Maria poured tea in her kitchen, the steam carrying the scent of cinnamon and distant smoke. She had expected worse. Maria's demand broadcast live. A public hearing where the Tarvani would admit to bioterrorism. The galaxy held its breath.
She is forcing us to confess before the galaxy. It is not enough to destroy us. She requires an execution. He opened a private channel. Maria Vega, I will meet you before this farce. Alone.
She agreed, and that evening their holograms faced each other across the kitchen table.
You have broken us. Our vaults are empty. Our stock is ash. What more do you want, farmer?
You think this is about money? Your ancestors should have taught you better manners.
What are you implying?
In 2089, a Tarvani trader told my great-grandmother that nothing on Earth was worth anything. She decided to make him wrong.
2089. That was before the Combine's formation. This grudge is older than our financial system.
Maria ended the call. 2 days, she had told him. Bring your records to the hearing. I'll bring hers. The hearing chamber hushed as Maria walked down the central aisle. The Tarvani delegation sat frozen, Veth Kolrin at their head.
You demanded a confession. The Combine ordered the release of the pathogen. I authorized it.
That is noted. But this hearing is not about your attack. It is about something much older.
She nodded to an aide. A holographic file bloomed in the air, its label burning gold. Isabella Vega, 2089.
This is my great-grandmother, Isabella. She has been waiting to speak to you for over 200 years.
The hologram shimmered into focus. An elderly Isabella, silver hair, eyes like dark embers. She wore a traditional Oaxacan dress.
That face. No, it cannot be linked to us. This is a fabrication.
Let her tell you herself. Let the galaxy hear what a Tarvani trader said that day.
The recording began. The galaxy leaned forward as Isabella Vega's lips moved for the first time in 2 centuries, and for the first time in 8 centuries, a Tarvani first auditor had no countermove.
Before she speaks, I want the galaxy to understand how we arrived at this moment.
The hologram shifted to images of old ledgers, handwritten notes, and a greenhouse from 6 generations past.
For 6 generations, our family perfected a hybrid pepper, not for profit, for a purpose.
The capsaicin variant was unique. We knew. We bred for resilience, for yield, for a biochemical profile no other crop could match.
Each generation added a trait. My grandmother cataloged, my mother expanded. I kept the seeds.
The village knew only that the Vega peppers were special. Maria had never sought outside validation.
We were waiting for the galaxy to catch up, waiting for the moment a Tarvani would understand what was taken from us.
So that's why Abuela knew. They all knew, and they never told the rest of us.
The hearing hall was silent, save for the quiet hum of the hologram. Maria let the weight settle, and then she nodded toward the holographic Isabella, whose voice would fill the silence with a promise 2 centuries old.
Before she speaks, the galaxy should know the name. The Tarvani trader who insulted her was Kale T. Varn.
Veth Kolrin's face drained. His hand trembled on the obsidian table.
Kale Tavarn. He was a founder. He wrote the Combine's first charter. This cannot be coincidence.
Maria advanced the timeline. Holographic records showed Kale rising to head of resource acquisition, then first auditor.
He founded the very office Veth now holds, and he lived long enough to watch my great-grandmother's promise come true.
What did he do? What did Kale Tavarn say to her?
He told her, with all the arrogance of his species, that nothing on earth was worth anything. She decided to prove him wrong.
A collective intake of breath swept the chamber. The Combine's lineage was suddenly soiled by a single ancient insult. And now, replayed from a recording made in her final year, Isabella would deliver her verdict. Maria lifted her hand, and the hologram's silence broke. The holographic Isabella took a slow breath. Her voice, thin with age but clear, filled the chamber.
I am Isabella Vega. In the year 2089 of Earth, a Tarvani trader came to our stall.
The hologram shifted to a younger Isabella, standing before a tall Tarvani, whose expression dripped with disdain.
He looked at our peppers, our maize, our artesanias. Then he smiled and said, "Nothing on this world is worth anything." I told him he was wrong. I promised my daughter, and her daughter, that we would make him remember.
The hologram returned to elderly Isabella, her eyes fierce but distant, her voice gaining strength.
We bred a pepper that would save 17 worlds. We waited, and today the galaxy knows what we knew.
The recording faded to static. The hearing chamber held its breath, no one daring to break the silence. Maria turned her gaze to Veth Kolrin, who sat frozen, the blood drained from his angular face. No applause, no outburst, just the weight of a promise kept across 200 years.
There is one final record the galaxy should see. Kale T. Varn did not die ignorant.
A new hologram shimmered, an older Kale T. Varn, alone in a dim office, staring at a data pad. His expression was hollow.
When our spice was discovered, Kale's own biochemists traced it to Oaxaca. He knew exactly who we were.
A journal entry appeared, written in Tarvani script. The Vega hybrid. It is that family. I was wrong.
He lived 3 more years, watching our pepper dismantle his ambitions. He died knowing exactly what he had set in motion.
He knew. Our own founder saw the end coming, and he said nothing. He sentenced us to this.
On the trading floors, the Ardiente unit surged another 22%. Tarvani credit became worthless.
You inherited his debt, first auditor, and now it is paid in full.
She turned from the podium and walked back down the aisle, leaving the Combine's wreckage behind. The chamber remained silent. There was nothing left to say. Within hours, Veth Kolrin convened the remnants of the board. The obsidian table was scarred with scratched-out proposals.
We offer the Combine's total equity to the Vega Cooperative, control everything, save our name.
Maria's reply came not in a hollow call, but a simple text, broadcast simultaneously to every galactic news feed. Her words, "I don't need your ruins. The Combine's collapse is a consequence, not a negotiation." The Tarvani board issued a formal dissolution statement. The oldest financial Combine in the galaxy ceased to exist. On every trading floor, the Ardiente unit was adopted as the primary reserve currency, backed by the Vega orbital harvests. A new interstellar exchange commission was formed. Earth held a permanent seat. Maria was offered the chairmanship and refused. She attended the charter ceremony only to sign as a witness. Her handshake with an alien diplomat was brief. The galaxy's financial architecture had pivoted around a single pepper. The woman who made it possible would go home to water her plants. The name Vega would be remembered not as a conqueror, but as a gardener who taught the galaxy patience. Maria and Mateo walked the Oaxaca fields at dawn. The soil was dark, alive again after 2 years of careful decontamination.
They offered us a planetary government, Mama. Half the council seats on the new exchange. We could shape the future.
The future is in the soil, mijo. Not in a chair. Let others write the laws. We will grow the food.
The village market had quieted. The alien tourists were fewer now, but the Vega stall remained. A simple sigan, cooperativa Vega, paprika ardiente. They split their weeks. 3 days on Earth, 3 in orbit. The greenhouse needed tending, and Maria trusted only her own hands for the mother plants. One evening, the whole family gathered around the long table. Cousins, in-laws, children, bowls of mole, tortillas, and a small dish of the glowing powder at the center.
Mama, are you happy? After everything, is this enough?
She looked at the faces around her, then at the pepper bowl. Mijo, happiness is not what I sought. I sought to be heard, and I was.
Later, the village celebrated its own quiet festival, a giant effigy of a golden pepper, fireworks, music. The Vega family danced among their neighbors. From orbit, the greenhouse glowed softly, a new star over Oaxaca. The Vega legacy was not in banks or titles, but in roots. The morning after the festival, Maria lit a single candle at the family altar. Isabella's photograph gazed out, timeless.
Abuela, I hope you heard. They all know now. Our dirt was worth everything.
Mema, I found this in the old chest. It's Abuela Isabella's handwriting.
On the paper, in faded ink, your worth is not in their hands, but in your hands. Cultivate it.
After everything, the sabotage, the hearing, was it all worth it?
Mijo, it was never about the spice or the money. It was about being seen. For 6 generations, they told us Earth was irrelevant. Now the galaxy's heart beats to our pepper. The worth was always there. We just made them notice.
She touched Isabella's photograph, and the flame flickered, as if sharing a secret. Mateo didn't need to ask again. The answer was in his mother's smile. Later that week, Maria docked at the orbital greenhouse alone. The soft hum of life support welcomed her like a heartbeat. The warm, misty air smelled of peat and paprika. She walked slowly between the rows. Her fingers brushed a broad leaf. The tiny hairs tickled her palm. These plants were her truest allies. She stopped before the oldest mother plant, a gnarled stalk grown from the original seeds.
Maria touched the gnarled stalk and whispered, "We did it, Abuela. They know."
The pepper pods shimmered under the artificial sun, as if acknowledging, or perhaps it was only the light. Through the curved dome, Earth hung blue and impossibly distant. Home.
6 generations had waited for this quiet. No applause here, only growth.
For the first time in years, she felt no weight on her shoulders. The debt was paid in full. Outside, the stars watched, and somewhere among them, 17 species breathed a little easier, thanks to a gardener from Earth. The camera drew back through the dome. The greenhouse became a glowing seed against the dark, and Earth shrank behind it. Past the moon, the orbital exchange gleamed, its canisters now routine, its panic long replaced by steady trade. The galactic map shimmered into view, and golden threads lit between 100 worlds, the Ardiente standard. Every thread traced back to a small blue point, and to a single plant whose fruit glowed like embers. A currency had been forged not from rare metals, but from patience and soil. In Oaxaca, the festival carried on, the giant pepper effigy still glowing. The children danced, not knowing they were legends. 6 generations of a single family had bent the arc of history, not through conquest, but through cultivation. The galaxy had once dismissed Earth as worthless. Now its very heartbeat was measured in Venezuelan hybrids. And in the quiet of her greenhouse, a woman who never sought power finally let it go. The spice did not just replace their currency. It proved that the smallest seed can break the largest vault. In the heart of the orbital greenhouse, a single plant grew from the original Vega seed. Its fruit glowed softly in the artificial dusk, warm and patient like a held breath. A weathered hand entered the frame, fingers brushing a broad leaf with reverence.
She was right, Abuela. You were right about all of it. The worth was always here.
The pepper seemed to answer, its glow intensifying for a single, fleeting heartbeat. Then the image blurred, the colors slowly bleeding into a soft golden haze. A faint light remained, a small star holding the weight of 200 years. Far below, Earth slept on, its blue curve cradling the quiet fields of Oaxaca. And in the darkness, a single seed fell into fertile soil, a new beginning in the quiet. And the universe kept spinning, needing no vengeance, full of light. From a single seed, 6 generations had waited, each adding a layer of patience to the soil. It cracked open, a shy green tendril reaching for the light. The shoot hardened into a stem, broad leaves unfurling under the artificial sun of the greenhouse. In time, the first pods appeared, green then ripening to that deep red gold the galaxy now measured its wealth by. A single plant could feed a dozen worlds. A single seed could carry a revolution. Through the dome, the starfield stretched infinite, indifferent to the tiny miracle below. The spice had not just replaced a currency. It had proven that value is not bestowed, it is cultivated. And in a quiet orbital garden, Maria Elena Vega closed her eyes. The debt was paid. The peppers would keep growing. The universe kept spinning, needing no vengeance, full of light. And somewhere, a new seed was already slipping into the dark, patient and certain of the sun.